Hello everybody, welcome back to the first episode of the Pseudo-Files, a new show that me and my co-host Mike are really excited to bring you, and I hope you all enjoy it. I'm your host Dave, and today I'm joined by Officer Mike. Mike, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Dave?
I'm feeling great. Hopefully everybody gets a kick out of this episode. I know I did, doing all the research for it. Oh boy. But first of all, since this is technically our first episode, I thought it would be pretty cool to introduce ourselves. My name is Dave, obviously. I'm an educator in the tri-state area. I specialized in teaching children that are diagnosed with autism. My favorite subjects and hobbies is history, science. I love technology, working on computers, audio, video, you name it, I love it. And I also like to collect sci-fi miniatures such as Star Wars, Star Trek, and Doctor Who. This podcast originally started on my original YouTube channel called The Points of Articulation, but after a couple of episodes, me and Mike got into talking that we think it would be better if we branched out and made our own separate channel to deal with the bizarrity of elements that we're going to talk about on this channel, which really ranges from everything from religion to aliens, monsters in the dark, and conspiracies, all that fun stuff. And that's basically it for me at the moment. We have a bunch of episodes to share information about ourselves, so now I give the floor to you, Mike.
All right, thanks, Dave. So I'm Mike, or Officer Mike, whichever you prefer. I'm a police officer in the tri-state area, the same type of area that Dave's from. Dave and I have known each other for a long time. But getting back to my police career here, I've been a police officer for about 10 years now. Work for Kane. I'm currently in K9, and I'm interested in all kinds of different things. Technology, kind of like Dave, and then just kind of weird, out there things like this, what we're going to talk about today, and some of the other things that we've talked about in the past, and hopefully some of the things that we'll talk about in the future.
Yeah, you know, our last episode we did was all about time travel, and, you know, I really think that was a great episode that me and Mike did, and if you didn't get a chance to listen to it or watch it, I'll leave a link in the description below of this video, because it is very cool, and there's some real facts in there in history that, you know, we took a lot of time to research and show everybody. And, you know, with talking to Mike, I think that was the way we should move forward. So today we have a nice piece of what could be history. That's up to you, the listener, to decide. And then we have some eyewitness accounts. And, you know, it's all about education, comedy, entertainment, and making your minds expand a little bit. You know, thinking outside the box of what could be instead of what we know as is, if that makes any sense. Oh, Mike, so what's the first thing on our agenda today?
Well, I'm glad you said comedy, because I think something that's good to preface the show, or something that we typically preface the show with, is our OJ watch here.
Hey, Twitter world, this is yours truly.
See, I don't know why. It just seems like he always gives us hours of entertainment here. It's always something interesting. But anyway, now it seems like he's in hot water. Do you remember that gargoyle show that used to be on TV?
Yes, that was a Disney cartoon in the mid-90s. And I remember that was pretty damn popular, to be honest with you.
Yeah, exactly. So now people are realizing it, and I guess they're thinking back to the show, and they're like, well, wait a minute. Whatever happened to it? And they're like, I guess what happened was, or what they're saying happened was, right around the time that the show was, I guess you could say, at its peak, OJ, you know, allegedly committed those crimes, and he had the whole Bronco chase, and then his ensuing legal battles and everything, and that ate up all the time on the air, and that's what they're blaming on killing the show. So now they're adding that to his kill list.
Oh, Jesus. And not only did he kill those, well, I mean, allegedly kill
that's right.
those two individuals at that property, but now he allegedly killed a massive fan-favorite animated show.
Yeah, that's right. That's what they're alleging now, yes.
I can't believe this. Every time we do a podcast, OJ is there, and he is always doing something that sort of fits into what we're talking about. And it's amazing that you brought up gargoyles, Mike, because today we're talking about the Jersey Devil. You see, they both have wings, is what I'm getting to. It was a natural jump-off point.
It actually almost kind of worked out perfect.
Yeah, it did. So, like I said, today we're talking about the Jersey Devil. Now, the Jersey Devil is a mysterious creature that lives in the Pine Barrens of New Jersey. It has the face of a horse, a body of a goat, big wings, and a tail, and it's said to terrorize the people of New Jersey. But before I get to the legend, how about some geography? As we see here, we have the state of New Jersey that I crudely drew on this video. Now, here we have the red section, which is the Pine Barrens, and here's some facts about the Pine Barrens. It's 1,465.6 square miles large, and that's an amazing amount of land right there. Now, the area itself is very different than anywhere else in New Jersey. The ground is very sandy, it's very acidic. A lot of different things don't grow that normally grow throughout the rest of the state. We have a large collection of pine trees. The most common types for all you tree lovers out there is the jack pine, the pinch pine, red pine, blackjack oak, and scrub oak, among other varieties. Now, also down there is a lot of unique plant life. And we're talking from everything from the curly fern, which is said to only grow in this particular part of the state, as well as the Middle East, as well as many carnivorous plants, which I think is very interesting, but that's probably due to the lack of nutrition in the soil. You know, they got to kill the animals to get their juice. But a lot of interesting stuff happens in the Pine Barrens, and historically, it's well known for its glass and iron. A lot of the iron was used to make cookware, weapons during the Revolutionary War. Very interesting aspects. Today, it's mostly known for the Jersey Devil, being the Pine Barrens, and having tons of cranberry and blueberry farms, among other agricultural feats. So now that we got our little social studies section over, let's talk about the legend. Now, there are many legends out there. What I like to do is I like to look at all of them. And there's not too many with the Jersey Devil, but there's minor changes throughout the stories, depending on who's telling it orally or who wrote it down in the book. So I tried to condense everything I sucked in, and hopefully it sounds good to all of you at home. So here we have the legend of the Jersey Devil, or the Leeds Devil, depending on what you want to call it. The legend says in 1735, within the Pine Barrens of New Jersey, a woman named Mother Leeds was about to have her 13th child. The issue with this new child was that the Leeds family was not wealthy at all, and her husband was a drunk. So when she learned that she was about to have another child, she raised her fist into the air and said, "Let this one be the devil." A couple of months later, Mother Leeds began to go into labor. On this night, the weather began to become very chaotic, with thunder, lightning, heavy rain, and heavy winds. Now in the home, the father and the 12 other children went into another room, waiting for the mother to have her baby, while Mother Leeds was left with a couple midwives to help her deliver the child. Mother Leeds then delivered a baby boy, like normal, with no known issues. Now Mother Leeds at this point totally forgot the curse she put on her 13th child, but the fates did not. Out of something like John Carpenter's The Thing, the baby boy began to transform in front of everyone into a wild beast. The child began to grow extremely large. It grew horns out of its head, wings sprouted from its back, and black hair and feathers began to grow out of its body. It then grew large nails, a tail, and finally its head grew out like a horse. When the transformation was done, and the creature opened its eyes for the first time, they glowed bright red. The wild beast, growling, then turned to its mother and attacked her, killing her on the bed he was delivered on. When the beast was done with his mother, it then turned to the midwives and ripped them apart one by one, limb by limb. After the midwives were dismembered, the creature crashed through the wall into the room where the rest of the family was waiting. It began attacking them, one by one, just like the midwives, tearing them apart. The surviving family members claimed that the beast suddenly stopped attacking and ran up the chimney, leaving broken wood and rubble in its path. Once it escaped outside, it disappeared into the stormy night sky. From then on, the beast claimed the New Jersey Pine Barrens as its home, and since this event has been terrorizing people who wander into the creature's domain. And that's basically the legend on the whole.
Nice.
And I think it's very interesting. It definitely has some very cool horror elements to it, some supernatural stuff. It's got a lot going for it, and I could see why it's very popular. In pop culture, it's been in many TV shows and movies. Just to name a few, we have Season 1, Episode 5 of The X-Files, which is entitled The Jersey Devil. If you haven't seen that episode, spoiler alert. It's not a devil, it's just a feral family that was in the Pine Barrens. Also, the Jersey Devil was in the film The Last Broadcast, released in 1998, which started the found footage style of filmmaking, just like the Blair Witch Project did. Now, this film came out before the Blair Witch, and it's about a camera crew that goes out looking for the Jersey Devil, and as the film progresses, we see how that plays out for them. Besides film, we live in the state of New Jersey, and they have the New Jersey Devils, the hockey team. So there's no escaping this thing whatsoever. I think between me and Mike, we had to see that stupid devil symbol maybe 1 million times growing up. It's everywhere. Hats, pants, jackets, cups, bumper stickers, merchandising, Mike, merchandising.
That's right. That's where all the money is. I think Bruce Springsteen even came out with a song and a video about Jersey Devil also.
Oh, we're going to have to check that out.
Yeah, I think it was on, I think I saw something on YouTube or something.
Pretty cool.
I'm sure there's a few songs out there. Like you said, it's everywhere. Yeah. Songs, movies, TV.
And the interesting aspect is, even though the story is very old, even to this day, there's tons of sightings, missing animals and pets, spooky stuff seen through windows at night. Like, the list goes on and on.
Yeah.
And the place where it takes place, the Pine Barrens, is very interesting, as I already talked about with its ecology. Besides that, me and Mike are Boy Scouts. We made it all the way to Eagle, and we have camped all over the state of New Jersey, from the northern Stokes Forest all the way down to Cape May. We've been all over this place, and what's really interesting about New Jersey is that it's one of the few states in America that has dozens of different types of ecosystems in there. We're talking mountains, bays, beaches, rivers, creeks, farmland, deserts like the Pine Barrens. I believe up in northern New Jersey, there's also a sort of Pine Barrens area called the Pine Stands, but it's a totally different beast, if you want to put it that way. But what I'm getting to is, we've been all over the state, and there's one area where you could camp, the Pine Barrens, where, the ground is different than the rest of the state, and the trees look different. It's like you're in another world, if you want to put it that way. And, you sit there, you're roasting your hot dog or whatever, and you think about the Jersey Devil legend and stuff like that, and it sort of creeps you out in a way. Not that you think it might be real, but just, it could be out there. This is where it happened. And people see it all the time. Sometimes you see clips in the newspaper about pets or that are gone, and all you see is footprints and a broken leash. Like, it's very spooky stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, Mike, I'm getting a transmission from our newswoman.
Dave, Mike, going to be honest, as much as I love the Jersey Devil and would like to offer input, I have to be quick today with my transmission because of a string of recent, possibly illegal purchases the government is sort of after me. Anyway, hi all, my name's Dstep, and I like to call in and report on some interesting news. For our first story of the day, Lego My Eco. While looking at several weathered Legos found in nature, mainly the ocean, scientists estimate that it could take anywhere from 100 to 1,000 plus years for some to naturally break down. Because of this study, scientists are saying that some other plastics could take even longer to decompose in our oceans. Guess our oceans are just falling to pieces. Our next story, paleontologists are jumping for joy. A fossil of a frog estimated to be 40 million years old was located on Seymour Island near the Antarctic Peninsula. What makes this special is that it shows that frogs that live today were at one time living in Antarctica. The question is, are there other Antarctic amphibians hidden beneath the depths? Wow, this story was so riveting. For our final story of the day, Splice the Mice. Somebody called Jeff Goldblum. If any of you ever saw the 1989 remake of The Fly, you would know it is about a man who genetically fuses with a housefly. Now, the film may be fantasy and an awesome horror flick, but what if there could be a little truth to it, but with mice? Scientists have always had some trouble growing human cells in animals, but recently a mouse embryo had 4% human cells in it. They do this by knitting, as the scientists say, human stem cells with mice embryos. Now, even though this is very controversial, scientists in charge state that it could offer many scientific advances, one of which is that mice cells grow faster than a human's. So based on the research, human organs could be grown with these hybrid cells for humans at a fast rate. Might be a bit hairy, but definitely interesting. Well, that does it for the news. Guys, I think I hear the government Black Hawk helicopters over my bunker, so I guess it is time for me to act like a mouse and play a little bit of hide and squeak. You'll never take me alive! See you next time! Dstep's out!
Oh man, I hope she's alright. Jeez.
Yeah. I still can't believe you're able to track her down, Dave.
Yeah, she's an oddity, but man, she finds this most interesting news. Fossilized Antarctic frogs, mice organs. You can't make this stuff up, but it's all true.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. So anyway, back to our main topic of the Jersey Devil. Now, on our show, we like to get the audience into the conversation. So let me ask all of you at home a question. Do you think the Jersey Devil could exist? And if so, what is it?
Yeah, guys, let us know down in the comments section. Even if you think that maybe he existed at one point, or, if he exists maybe now or whatever, let us know.
Yeah, let the conversations grow. But speaking of conversations, me and Mike now have some eyewitness accounts, if we want to call them that. And we're going to go through them. And, when all this is done, make up your own mind. Is this real? Is it a hoax? We're not here to tell you what it is, but we're here to open your mind. So, Mike, why don't you take the reins and tell us of the first eyewitness account of this thing?
Yeah, so, it's a pretty short one. There's not a lot of info on it, but I still think that it's something worth noting, just because of the alleged witness here. So this was back in the early 1800s, when I guess they say that about 1,000 different reports came in. But I guess they were testing cannonballs down at Hanover Mills in the Pine Barrens, and Navy Commander Stephen Decatur, I believe that's how you say his name, reportedly saw the creature and he shot it. The cannonball allegedly blew a hole in him, and he wasn't even fazed by it. He just kind of ran off.
It's like the T-1000, Mike.
Yeah, exactly. Just kind of reformed, I guess. They said they went after it with some bloodhounds to try and track it, and that the bloodhounds supposedly refused to track him. So they chalk it up to the Jersey Devil, and then I guess they shut down the schools in response to this. So all the kids were pretty happy about that. But
that's very interesting, Mike.
Yeah,
and I like how they close the schools.
Yeah, yeah. So that just shows you that many people were willing to believe, and that maybe. So he was a Navy commander, so it's not like somebody that you would think of that would just make up this kind of story. And he was obviously somebody that they respected pretty well, because they went as far as closing down the schools in that area too. So
wow,
yeah.
It makes me wonder, what is more threatening to schools, COVID-19 or the Jersey Devil?
I guess we'll have to take a look back and we'll have to find out.
Did that article say how long they were closed for?
No, it doesn't. That's why I want to try and research that one a little bit more, maybe later, and try and see what I can find. But yeah, that's all I got on that one. I think your story might be a little bit more interesting.
Well, I got to be honest with you. I really enjoy your story because we have a naval officer. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
a person
right.
with authority in the United States. Wow.
Yeah.
That is kind of cool. And the fact that they closed schools down, that's amazing to me. Now, for my story, it's a little in the past. We're going to go to around, I would say 1813, give or take. And my story focuses on Napoleon Bonaparte's brother, Joseph Bonaparte. Now, he lived from 1768 to about 1844. He was the king of Naples and Sicily, and then he became the king of Spain. And after all his political mumbo-jumbo, he came and lived in America. He had homes in New York, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey, where he lived at Point Breeze in Bordentown, New Jersey. And that blows my mind that we had a sibling to a well-known person in history, Napoleon, who lived in our state. Like, Mike, did you have any idea of this guy?
Yeah, I had no idea. I honestly, I didn't even really know that he existed, but just the fact that he actually even lived here also it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. Like, I'm a history major. I looked at tons of stuff. I'm even studying for the Praxis 2 at this moment. And in my books and everything, history never really talks about this guy much. And I don't really understand why. Maybe because he wasn't a big player. Who knows? But he was the king of two separate countries here. But regardless, he comes to New Jersey and he had a big patch of land. He fixed it up and did all this stuff. And he lived out most of his life until he went to Europe to die. But during his time in New Jersey, he would hear tales of the Jersey Devil, this magical beast that's in the woods. And one day during the winter, in about 1813, he decided, hey, I'm going to go hunting by myself. He goes out, and he claims that he saw the Jersey Devil, and it flew over him, and it started screaming and screeching and all that stuff. And basically, he went into town, he went everywhere, and he's like, oh, I saw the Jersey Devil. And obviously, you know, some people believed him, and some people went, oh, yeah, it's another kook. But I think that's really, really interesting that we had an ex-king come to this country, and he believed it so much that, well, maybe he did see it, who knows, but he had an eyewitness account of it, and he tried to go out and tell people, oh my God, I saw it. And when everybody came back to his, I guess we could call it like a chateau, his house, whatever, he told everybody, you know, I saw the Jersey Devil, the beast in the woods, man, I saw it. And, you know, that blows my mind.
Yeah.
And, you know, talk about authority figures, you know.
Yeah, right. Right.
Just,
Yeah, we're talking about Napoleon
really cool
Bonaparte's
stuff.
brother here. A king. You know?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It really makes you wonder. You know, so many people see this, and I guess the same could be said for people that see aliens or Loch Ness or anything like that, or Bigfoot, that, oh, yeah, I remember seeing it, but it's something special to the state of New Jersey, and I think that's why it's so interesting to us, to say the least, is because, you know, even as we are in our, I guess we could say we're middle-aged, we are still learning these different eyewitness accounts of this creature, and the list keeps going on and on and on, and this is just a fraction of what's out there that me and Mike found. I mean, you have kids that saw it, adults, teachers, cops, hunters, you name it, it's out there. It's a huge part of New Jersey culture, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah.
And
There were bounties out at one point.
Yeah.
I'm sure there probably still is a bounty out, you know, if you could probably claim if you were to find them.
Oh my God. I bet there's like a man or a woman out there right now with like paint on their face, and they're just sitting there with like an old gun, like an M1 Garand or maybe a 22 rifle, which would probably like do nothing to the Jersey Devil anyway if a cannonball couldn't even blow it up.
Yeah,
and
right.
Just like sitting there in one of those like cheap lawn chairs with like an old, maybe Vietnam or World War II era helmet with some like sticks in it with leaves, and they're just waiting.
Just waiting for them.
The person gets up, you know, today is the day. I'm going to catch the Jersey Devil. And then we skip ahead like 20 years, and there's like not a shred of evidence to back this guy's claim up. You know? Oh, man. But very interesting stuff, Mike. I think your story was great. Mine was really eye-opening as well. And that's basically everything me and Mike had planned today. On our show, we like to introduce the topic, have a little fun with it, do some news, and then we conclude with some either related stories or interesting eyewitness accounts like we just read right now. I think it's important that not only do we discuss the topic at hand, but we see how it relates to a current way of life. And I think that the two stories me and Mike had today were very, very important in their own ways, because it just shows you the impact that this phenomena has on the average human beings. Like, you had a naval officer, you had an ex-king that came to America that were shaped by this thing. And that's something that we as learners and lookers upon the world should really take a nice gander at and realize that it is something special about our state.
Yeah, and then if anybody wants to follow up on any of this and look out for some of this information themselves, we have all the links to all this stuff, what we found down below, that you can kind of look into it yourself. And then, again, kind of let us know. Dave's question a little earlier. What do you think?
Yeah, let's build a conversation. Let's build a channel together, because this is just the tip of the iceberg here. We're going to be looking at a bunch of aliens, different conspiracies, different cryptoids. So, there is no level to how chaotic we're going to get.
Yeah, should be an interesting show.
And that does it for our episode today, all about the Jersey Devil. I hope all of you found it entertaining. If you enjoyed our content, smash that like button. And if you'd like to see new podcast episodes every 15th and 30th of the month, subscribe for more. Me and Mike really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch our content. It means very much to us. And we hope to see you next time. Bye, everybody.